Seals! Big Seals! You get 2. By the way, that environment last night with the Kelly Greens was spectacular. That was spectacular. The lighting, the whole bird in the middle of the field, the uniform. That looked awesome last night. Dude, that to me, you had a chance to reflect back in time and think about Gang Green and Reggie and Jerome and all that. It was really great, man. That was a wonderful environment. The fans were great. The opponents. That was a good Sunday night football game as long as it lasted. Now, I hate to do this to you, but dual threat. Dual threat. One more. Dual threat. Dude's walking around with a brace. This is one thing that I wish to God and pray to God that I'm not right about. I want to underscore this right now. I don't want to highlight Jalen Hurts' availability by the end of the year. I don't want to land on that pod. I just don't. But when you're walking around with a knee brace and you're telling people now you're playing in pain, these dudes don't have high ceilings. They don't have high ceilings. Now, that's a sidebar story. That's a sidebar story. Hey, when your quarterback comes out in the second half with a knee brace, that's a story. That's a story, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, that's a story. Your quarterback and the style of play he has, it's not sustainable. It's just not happening. That guy ain't playing 17 games this year. That guy may never play 17 games. May never play. That's what dual threat does. Hey, does anybody actually think the guy in Baltimore is going to play 17 ball games this year? Not a chance. It's not a Jalen Hurts comment. It's a style of play comment. Whether you like it or not, you know it. Hey, and get this. You can say whatever you want about what I just said. Don't stick your head in the sand because you know it's true. Guys playing. So is he going to play with the Commander game with a knee brace? Interesting. Not trending in a good place right now. Let me get to my takeaways from the game. That was a great win last night. That was an absolutely great win. Completely, absolutely dominated the Miami Dolphins on both sides of the ball. Just dominated. You know, I heard people actually trying to make a comment that the Dolphins were fighting to hang in there. They were fighting to hang in there with the Eagles. I mean, when the game was close, I never felt that Miami was going to pull away and win. And the Eagles still haven't played their best football yet. I mean, they did such a great job on Tagovailoa. I mean, they did. Sean Desai is a future NFL head coach. Did you just praise T-Law against the Saints rushing with a bad knee? I don't give a shit about T-Law. Dual threat quarterback knee brace, second half. Deal with it, boss. Deal with it. I just absolutely thought that there's no question that the secondary stood up last night and they played out great. It was just absolutely great. They absolutely beat that team up on both sides of the football. Sean Desai did such a great job. There's no question that guy is going to be a head football coach, especially on what we're seeing, what D'Amico Ryan's doing in Houston. That was fabulous last night. Just absolutely fabulous. And let me put this out there to you too. Josh Sweat, holy shit, is he all pro? That guy is all pro. What a football player Josh Sweat is. Setting the edge, the way he sets the edge, is Brian Burns better than him? Man, I don't know. He is such a great, not good anymore. He is a great football player. Wow. What a dominating football player Josh Sweat is. Pass rusher, plays the run, wreaking havoc, plays with pain. He is such a good dude. Though every single freaking game I watch him play, he is getting better and better and better and better. What a fabulous football player. Just absolutely fabulous football player. I mean, the Eagles were a punishing puncher, and the Dolphins, to me, it seemed, were counterpunchers. There was nothing that the Eagles couldn't handle last night. You know what's great, too? All the players, because they have played in big games, and I just told Tone this, I think that's your biggest win in 2 years. Sean Desai ran the Fangio-style defense better than Fangio did. He did. He was creative, too. That's your biggest win in 2 years. It's your biggest win in 2 years versus talented people. And won. That's your best win in 2 years under Nick Sirianni. You dominate because you know why? You dominated an opponent, and you made the opponent know, hey, you may have all these statistics, and people may be talking about you like the greatest show on turf, but when you get into those spotlight games, you got to win those games. You just can't get killed in games like that. Look at the Dolphins' issues now. You know what you probably did to the Dolphins? You set the Dolphins' mentality back probably 3 weeks, because now the Dolphins have to combine that with the Bills' ass kicking, and now the ass kicking they got last night, and they have to have a come to Jesus conversation as an organization. Are we contenders or pretenders? The Eagles, you know what they come? Hey, you know what the Eagles come out of that game with? Commanders up next. That's a championship mentality. That's a championship mentality. They're not coming out of that game crowing. You know what they're coming out of that game doing? Divisional opponent Washington's next. I mean, the Bills and the Eagles knocked back the Dolphins' mentality. They did more damage than what I think even Dallas is going through with Arizona and with the 49ers. It's the same kind of stuff. Damn, are we good or not? They're questioning whether or not they can hang with the elite teams now. That's kudos to you. That's kudos to you. Reddick is just an absolute. I'd rather have Hassan Reddick than Micah Parsons. I'm finished with that conversation. I've seen enough. Since Parsons came to Philadelphia, and I've watched him, he's gotten better. And am I right when I say this? You signed that guy for 3 years, $45 million. What an absolute insane steal. What an insane steal. That guy's a $20 million a year guy. I want to show you, you know what? I'm even going to go off script here, and I want to show you something about your future here. So check this out. Here's your front four right now. Josh Sweat, 5.5 sacks. He's on pace for 13-4. Jordan Davis, 2.5. He's on pace for 6.1. He has more sacks now than he has in the last 4 years. And he's on pace for 6. Jalen Carter is on pace for 8. Your two interior defensive linemen, 8.5 and 6, they're trending towards. And Reddick on the other side, 13-4. I mean, when it comes to pass rushing and run stopping, really the 49ers are better? Even the mercenary linebackers are playing better. Jalen Hurts is still a turnover machine. He's still a turnover machine. He's got 10 turnovers in 7 ball games. Does the knee injury have something to do with that? Because it's Jalen Hurts, I'm going to give him the latitude of thinking there has to be something to that. 10 turnovers in 7 games for that player? I don't know. Let me put this one out there to you. But by the way, once again, let's back up here and say this. That's the best win in 2 years. 2.5 years since Jalen Hurts has been the starting quarterback. That's your best win versus elite talent and elite coaching. I think as an organization, that was a great win. Is there a better, hey, let me ask you this. If you had to pick between A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill as the best wide receiver in the NFL, who would you want in your huddle? I'm going to take the kid in Philly. It's like watching Terrell Owens again. That's Terrell Owens. He gets the ball. Man, it takes 3 dudes to get him down. It's like watching Michael Irvin back in the day, but a better athletic Michael Irvin. That's what I'll say about A.J. Brown. He's a more physical and, I don't know, he's probably as physical as Michael, but a better athlete. He's insane. He is, I'll tell you this again. Is there a better wide receiver in pro football than A.J. Brown? Would you take Justin Jefferson over him? Shit, I don't know. I can't believe I'm over here now going like this. Is that dude underpaid? Man, is he good. Fuck. Dude, you can have him covered, and it doesn't matter. You can have him covered, and he's almost undefensible. And I'll tell you what, as Jalen continues to evolve as a passer, he covers up any mistakes that anyone makes. If you're Tennessee, you underutilize that guy, you should be ashamed of yourselves. No wonder he bitches at him and throws shade back at him. You never use that player. Look what happens when a player goes to a different system on what it can do to elevate your game. Tennessee was wasted. Dude, look at his pedestrian numbers. Now you look at him here, you're like this. Holy shit. I mean, he is so better than he was in Tennessee. That's a Tennessee thing. No wonder the GM got his ass fired. Dude, A.J. Brown, man. You get that guy the ball, he is unbelievable. I'm not going to tell you he's better than Terrell Owens, but he plays a lot like T.O. Okay? A.J. Brown has 809. The entire Titans receiving corps has 789. He's unbelievable. Jordan Davis has completely upped his game and turned his entire game around this year. I mean, he and Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat and that front four were exceptional. You beat the freaking shit out of that Dolphin team. You beat them up. Hey, I'm sorry I don't subscribe to what some of the pundits are saying that the Dolphins kind of – dude, I don't want to be on a football team that hangs around and hangs in there. I want to be on the football team. Get this, and I still don't believe the Eagles played their best ball game. I came out of that going like this. The Eagles probably played, what would we say, 85% of their max? Maybe 80, something like that, 85% of their max? 85% of their best. Crush that team. Crush that team. Absolutely crush that team. Man, outstanding. Here's something else. I don't want to hear this shit they got away with stuff in penalties. You throw up a donut in penalties and the other team has 10. They had to do everything they could just to stay in the fight. And they couldn't. 10 penalties for 70 yards versus a team that had none. I love listening to Sills eating. I'm not eating any crow. Ain't no crow here. You won. Hey, and Hoss, sometimes you get the egg and sometimes you get the shell. Ain't no crow eating here. You stepped up and played well. It's your best win in 2.5 years. What do you want me to say? Your quarterback still, I don't know, dual threat. He ain't making the whole year. The question will be, will he get to the postseason? We're halfway through the season. He's in a knee brace. This is the third year in a row he's had some injury issues. Right? Right? Say it. Right? Just a fabulous win. Just a fabulous win. Fabulous. Fabulous win. Let's look at the numbers now. Then we'll get into Hurts. And the fear the Eagles are having is playing out for your quarterback now. He's getting banged up. He's getting banged up. And you have a ton more games to go. First downs, listen to this. 26-24. You doubled them. Here is what is one of the absolute significant numbers in the game here. 48 plays the Dolphins ran. Do you understand what that is? You basically ran 12 plays a quarter. 12. The stars were on defense last night along with AJ. You held the team to 12 plays. 355 in total offense to 244, lowest output for the Dolphins all year. Passing yards, 256 to 199. Rushing, I don't know what's happening to the Eagles' run game. 99 to 45. We were tush pushing from our own 25 and 35. That shows you how dominant you are, maniac, where you were doing shit like that to people and you were pushing their shit in their own face. I don't care. We could be dude, pretty soon Nick's going to do it on his own 10. Talk about breaking a team's neck. Rushing attempts, 34. They stuck with it, though. We talked about the penalties and goose eggs. 0 to 10 for 70. Turnovers. Eagles 2. Dolphins 1. Look at his time of possession here. They played keep away. Almost 37 minutes, 23 minutes. Can't win a game running 48 plays and having the ball 23 minutes. Not a chance. Stills on Monday afternoon saying you beat the shit take mushrooms out of the Dolphins. Did you not? Did you see something different? I don't know what you're expecting me to do here. Anything different than what I always do. It's your best win in 2.5 years. What do you want me to say? The numbers. Jalen Hurts, 23, 31, 279, 2 touchdowns, a pick, horrible pick. 109.5, and also a fumble in the game. Tagovailoa, 23 of 32, 216, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 87.5. I tell you what, something that goes under the radar here is DeAndre Swift, 62 yards carrying the ball. Man, I'll tell you what, when they get Goddard and Swift established early, I mean, they just moved the chains. They really moved the chains, man. And Swift has been such an upgrade to Miles Sanders. Raheem had 9 carries for 45 yards, completely stuffed them. Brown continues just to explode. 10 catches, 137 to TD. Tyreek Hill, outstanding job, Sean Desai. 11 catches, 88, and 1 and a crucial drop. You know why he dropped it? Because he was getting hit. He was getting hit. They were putting a hat on him. How many times did you see him and they put a hat on him? They made sure every time that the football went to him, they hit him. Sean Desai, that's the best coordinated football game by an Eagle coordinator in 2.5 years. Eagles make teams one-dimensional every week. It didn't matter in that game, though. What you're not listening to is the Dolphins were never in it. Devontae Smith, 4 catches, 49. Swift was great. Josh Sweat, 2 sacks. Hassan Reddick, 2 TFLs. Game balls. Then we're going to go over to Hurts here. A.J. Brown gets a game ball. Josh Sweat gets a game ball. Jordan Davis gets a game ball. Hassan Reddick gets a game ball. Jason Kelce was fabulous last night. It was as good as it gets. You want to hear something else? How about this? A guy who many people were looking at doesn't belong back there. How about the job that Terrell Edmonds did? That guy had a boatload of plays last night and made them. Do you understand the track team that came into Lincoln Financial last night? You guys beat the Jamaican 4x100 relay team, and you stopped them. You upset that entire group. Something a lot of people can't do. Okay? I thought Edmonds made about 16 tackles last night. Dude, was there times he got beat? Yeah. But without him back there making plays and getting guys on the ground, you were in trouble. Getting beat, you're going to get beat against that offense. But holding that defense intact the way they did, good for them. Good for them. Really good. Really good. Okay? Did a really good job back there in the secondary. I'll put this back out there now. Now let's get to your quarterback. And I'll ask you first before I give my assessment on Jalen Hurts. How well do you think he played last night? How well do you think Jalen Hurts played last night? C plus, B minus? 8 out of 10. Guy's got 10 turnovers in 7 games, and Scott thinks the guy played great. A, B. Holding the ball way too long. Crazy bad decisions. B minus. Because when he had to make plays, he did. Okay? And he's hurt. And he's hurt. You know, it's funny. People keep saying, and Dozick goes, unlucky turnover. Gee, funny. How about every week you're saying unlucky turnover, unlucky turnover, unlucky turnover? I mean, you're going to keep doing that? How many weeks are you going to keep saying unlucky turnover? He's been turning the ball over since the Super Bowl. One game he didn't, Washington. Outside the 2 turnovers, he played well, completed 74% of his passes, 279, 3 total TDs. Think he's holding the ball too much and carrying the ball the way he is right now, injured? That's what you get with dual threat. Again, I say B minus. I don't think Brian Johnson called a shitty game. I don't. I think actually both coordinators outcoached the Miami Dolphin coaches in this ball game. I think Desai had a better game than Fangio, and I think that Johnson had a better game than what Mike McDaniel did. And the players absolutely played their asses off. You know what, man? That team is so super talented. And, I mean, the Eagles have so much talent on that football team that they can overcome anything. and the leadership, the quarterback. Again, see, this is why I say that team probably, if you want to say it really last night, they played between 80 and 85% of their max potential. And they beat a 5-1 football team that lights up like a Christmas tree when you're looking at scoreboards. And they stuffed them on both sides of the ball. I'm going to talk about the coordinators here in a minute more. The first red zone play calling. I'm sorry. Hey, Tone, could you put up Maniacs, please? Yeah, East Cannon goes, Brian Johnson called an okay game. Yeah. The first red zone play calling, I wanted to puke. I get it. Again, for 60 minutes, I thought he was okay. I didn't think it was a poorly called game. Dude, the one pick was atrocious. That's not on him. That's on Jalen holding the ball too long. There's something in there. Now, again, the problem that you're seeing here is they're getting more away from running the ball. I think they could have beat the living piss out of the Miami Dolphins running the ball right down their throat. Dude, when you're running the tush push on a 35 and your own 25, you have no respect for their run defense. You could have put that ball out there 50 times and ran them off the field, and they would have never got the ball. Turnovers kept them in it. I would say this to you about, again, let me finish up with Jalen here. Am I concerned about his injury? I am. Because you know why? It's one thing just to have an Achilles injury and you're not a running quarterback. As long as it doesn't affect your plant and your throw and your arm or your shoulder, those quarterbacks are going to be fine. But when you're a dual threat guy like this, that affects your entire offense. Especially, hey, can it be the reason that they're really not running the ball as much anymore is because the quarterback is hurt? Could it be? You think they're backing up a little bit on the run? And the play calls in the run game because the quarterback. Now, no one really has been able, and no one will. And they, by the way, nor should they say anything about when Hurts got hurt. They shouldn't give any information out. They should leave that as vague as possible. You don't want to give the opponent any kind of information, but they'll see it on film. Players will be going for it. Some are saying he got hurt in a Jet game. Okay? Washington's going to be tough for you. Washington will be a tough opponent. Seemingly, they got some sort of like kryptonite that you guys are in really a tough game with them. And I'll point it out to you. And in the last 4 games, you've had one comfortable win. The rest of them have been by 4 points or less. It's not like you're blowing that team out. Yeah. Let's do that for AJ now then. Because he thinks that he's going to blow out the Commanders. Well, let's see what they've done the last 4 games. Here. Got the dates for you, too. Since 2021, here's the last 4 games against the Commanders. 20-16, Eagles, 4-point win. September 25th, 2022. 24-8, Eagles. There's your comfortable win. November 19th, 2022, 32-21, Commanders win. And just a month ago, November 1, 34-31. Where in your crazy thinking that you're going to blow the Commanders out when you haven't in the last 4 games? Except for once. And they've beat you once. Or is this made up? As usual. Delusional. Let's go to the coordinators here now. Let's start with Brian Johnson. What would you give Brian Johnson's grade as a coordinator in that game on Sunday? Sills, you not Washington to English, Keon. Okay. English. I don't want a UN translator for your comments, please. B plus, B plus, B minus, A minus. I won't go there. I'll go B minus. I again, for 60 minutes of football, 60 minutes of football, I thought he did a nice job. And what I liked about it is the establishing of Goddard and Swift, which opened up AJ. AJ covers so much stuff up. Man, can I tell you the one he gets open, not in route running. He gets open in power running and power routes. He plants that foot, turns on the wheel, and man, he is a power player. That he's one of the most explosive power players that I've seen at that position in a long time. There's nothing finesse about A.J. Brown. He kind of personifies the entire offense of the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles will blow them out, but hear me out on this, Sills. You played this game before, and you know there are certain teams. Absolutely, dude. The Saints for the Bucks that just know how to tone. When we talk at 3:30, our segment, and then, hey, by the way, we have to move Gary Cobb to 5:30 today from Fox 29 in Philly. He'll join us at 5:30 instead of his usual spot at 4:30. Tone, it's the Saints. I don't know what it is, the Saints and the Bucks. The Saints have the Bucks number. They always do. It's insane. No matter how good or bad the other team is, you come away with you're like, shit. How are they still in this? Dude, A.J. Brown's a power player. He is a powerful. I'll tell you what, man. Honest to God. I'm going to ask you this question one more time. What do you think was a bigger acquisition by Howie? The signing of Reddick or the trade for AJ? Man. And both of these guys are underpaid. Dude, AJ Brown, would I take him over Justin Jefferson? Shit. In that offense? Probably. If I'm building an offense, probably not. Or I don't know even now anymore. I really don't know, man. He is so fucking good. And you know what I like about him more? Man, he wants to punch you in the face every time he... Doesn't it feel like that guy runs like his emotions are on his fist? Man. He is such a good football player. And he gets open with power. And once he turns, dude, those secondary guys want nothing to do with him. I'll tell you, him and DK Metcalf in Seattle, that's my style of wideout. Man, you throw, hey, by the way, A.J. Brown and DK can be covered, but they're not. You know what I mean? They could be covered, but they're not. There's no doubt A.J. Brown is separated from Devontae. That's not a bad thing. Devontae's still young and growing as an NFL player. And being on a football team with A.J. Brown is like T.O. being on a football field with Jerry Rice. You think that didn't help T.O.'s growth as a wide receiver when he first came into the league and he had Rice on the other side? Let me say, think about that. Terrell Owens' first couple of years in the NFL, he had Jerry Rice on the other side. Jerry Rice was over there. And you got a chance to watch how a guy prepared. You had a chance to watch how a guy played in-game, how tough he was, kind of routes he ran. Can't be anything but beneficial. Reddick was crazy good against the run, too. Really good. And by the way, how many times was he in the backfield? How many times was he back there? Exceptional football player. You know, I was wrong about him when he first came because I didn't see I don't know what it was. His first 6 games, I was like this. Guy's on a milk carton. And all of a sudden, I'll tell you what. Let me say this to you guys. Who's been a better Eagle? A.J. Brown since they got here or Hassan Reddick? Keon, relax. It's one game. Look at Keon making a career statement for Reddick on one game. When it talks about stopping the run. Gotta love Keon, man. Prisoner of the moment. Who's been a better Eagle since he got here? A.J. Brown or Hassan Reddick? AJ? Devin, I don't like to straddle the fence like that. But I can't pick one either. They've been both tremendous. Hey, can you guys think of a better acquisition other than Terrell Owens in the last 20 years? The trade for A.J. Brown and the signing of Hassan Reddick, are they Howie Roseman's best moves that he's made? And I know Slay was a part of a deal that he got with Detroit, but I don't think Slay has been as good as those two guys. I don't think Alshon Jeffries has been as good as those two guys. I do not. Okay? And here's the thing. Here's the one thing you're getting with A.J. Brown that T.O. didn't give you. You know what he's given you? He's given you 2005, where Owens couldn't give you 2005 because of all the bullshit. This guy had a career year last year, and now he's doing it again. This is where AJ's a better player for the Eagles than Owens was. You know why? He's giving you the second year Owens never gave you. You thought you'd have Owens for 5 years. Did you not think that? Malcolm Jenkins you think Malcolm Jenkins had the same impact that AJ and Reddick are having? Man, Malcolm Jenkins, and I'm with you, fabulous football player. Exceptional. Top shelf player. But, dude, this guy's better than Micah Parsons. Or how about this? I don't know if he's better. He's out. Is this a fair statement? Is this a fair statement? I would go here. I don't know if he's better than Micah Parsons, but in the last 17 games, has Hassan Reddick outplayed Micah Parsons? Chris says AJ's great, but he's not better than T.O. But he's giving you more than T.O. You see what I'm saying, Scott? I agree with that statement, Scott. Or, excuse me, Chris. I agree with that, Chris. He's not better, but he's giving you more. Because he's giving you the 2005 season Owens never gave you. He's doing something that you thought Owens was going to do. You know what that is? I don't think he's outplayed Bosa. Okay? Well, maybe he has. Maybe the only guy he hasn't outplayed is Myles Garrett. Incredible. Last 17, 16 games, whatever you want to call it, Reddick has outplayed Parsons. And you could make the comment, and all the Cowboy lovers can talk about what they think of that guy. I thought he was a force last night. By the way, Jalen Carter. Brian Baldinger texted me last night and goes, Sills, are we watching Jerome Brown 2.0? I go, dude, I've been saying it since the draft. This guy, remember? Hey, right, Tone? I've been saying this since the draft. This guy's Jerome Brown. Everyone was like, hey, Sills, that's really high praise and a lot of pressure. And I'm like, this guy's going to be Jerome Brown. I've been saying that since day one. You draft this guy, you're drafting Jerome Brown. From a pure stat perspective, Reddick and Parsons are having similar seasons. Reddick at 5.5 sacks and 7 TFLs. Parsons at 5 sacks and 7 TFLs. Yeah, but I go back last year to the last 17. I didn't see Parsons in the back end of that year last year for the Dolphins. And when you got to the playoffs, Hassan Reddick was a force. I didn't see him in that San Francisco game for the Cowboys. I saw Reddick take out the starting quarterback of the Niners. Hassan Reddick has been the best edge rusher in the NFL the past 2 years, and it's not even a question. The others shine at times, but other than while wearing the cast, he's on. That's right. The cast slowed him up at the beginning of the year, but not crazily slowed him up. You know? And by the way, him playing through the injury, kudos again. Kudos again to him. I would say that Reddick has more impactful stats than Parsons. How come every time I tune on a big game, I see that guy? And every time I tune on a Dallas Cowboy game with Parsons in, I don't see that guy. Every freaking game I watch the two, there's Reddick making a TFL. There's Reddick, a hit on a quarterback. There's Reddick with a sack. I look at Parsons, and like at the end of the last game with the Chargers have to be one of the biggest disappointments in the NFL this season at 2-4. That coach, you know what? That coach, and you could tell that the memorandum that went around from the NFL owners about signing coaches to contract extensions and firing guys in season and then hiring more people and elevating and giving new contracts, that's something because last year, Frank Reich got blown out. Who was the guy? Matt Rule got blown out. You're not seeing that like we did a year ago prior to going into the halfway mark where coaches were fired early. Nobody's been fired. Staley should have been fired after that Minnesota disaster. Listen, do I think Jalen gets better? Depending on his injury. D'Amico Ryan happy with Anderson. Kicking himself for not getting Carter. I think Will Anderson will be fine. Okay? I think if anything, you talk about the Texans not getting Carter. How about the Bears? I mean, don't you think the Bears, a city that's known for defense, wouldn't want to have a guy like that? Now, then again, maybe that environment wouldn't be conducive for Jalen Carter to go up there because that thing's a shit show up in Chicago. Okay? If we were talking impact at important times, Reddick, the best in the league. His plays always come at important moments. That's what you call big-time players, man. Big-time players. Ray, Garrett is the best. Myles Garrett's the best defensive football. I didn't say that Hassan Reddick was better than Myles Garrett. I said I think he's outplayed Micah Parsons. Do you know he's still the lead guy to win the Defensive Player of the Year? Hassan Reddick's name is not even mentioned in that conversation. Why? I think it's because he's been on multiple teams and that he's been more of a mercenary and he's not like a homegrown guy like Micah and Myles. And I think that hurts impressions of voters. I mean, look, how many times do you hear people bring up Hassan Reddick's name even in a telecast? They'll bring up the 2 tackles, and that's it. And then they'll bring up Reddick's name every now and then, but they don't talk about him like they talk about TJ Watt or talk about Myles Garrett or Parsons or any of these other guys. They never. It's a political and publicity league. And Hassan doesn't have any publicity around him. But that's okay. Because the players in the game, when you watch him play, you have to respect what he's doing. You have to respect. Let's get to the coordinators again with Brian Johnson. I'd like to see Jalen get the ball out more quicker. Maybe some more design plays. When it comes to quick slants or what have you. Get the ball out of his hand. Get him some confidence. And get yourself some confidence by getting high percentage plays. You got everybody around the field there. You got Swift. You got Goddard. You got Devontae. You got AJ. Hey, don't just sit back there in 5 to 7 step. Get quick passes, man. Get everybody comfortable in the passing game. Spread everyone out. Get the ball out of his hands. Get him into a rhythm. He's still not in a rhythm. Hurts is still not in a rhythm, and that's why he's getting sacked. Lane Johnson gave up his first sack in 3 years. Holding the ball too long. Just get the ball out, kid. Again, I'm under the belief that his knee injury. Now, hey, Tone, do you know what knee it is? I feel like the Eagles run too many routes that take too. That's right. Too long to develop puts Hurts in a position to get rid of the ball quick. We need more quick routes, man. A wheel route, something that's a slant coming across the middle. Just even if it's a 2-yard gain, something you get the kid in rhythm. Have they released anything on what knee it is? Okay, because if it's his plant knee, that means the football's going to be high at times. And if they're not telling you, that's even better. I'd rather not know. Okay, I'd rather not know. They do, man. Those routes are so far down the field. They need to do a little. I mean, you got Dallas Goedert. That's why they're getting Swift and Goddard. You see, left leg. Okay, so it's not his plant leg, but it is his power leg to throw off. Okay, so that means you could have footballs. Remember something. What you're told to do. And now that I know it's the left leg, can I tell you what the Washington Commanders are going to do? And I'll tell you what every defensive line coach in National Football League, now that they know it's his left leg, okay? Dive at it. Don't hit it. Your common tendency, I'm not saying to hit it because you don't want to get an illegal 15-yard penalty or potentially get thrown out of a game. But what you do is you go down. The common tendency for a quarterback is to go down, the ball sails. They coach you to do that. Sorry, Prince. I know Prince doesn't think that this is about kissing cheerleaders and cashing paychecks, and that there's not a part of the game that you're coached in a certain way when a guy's injured, but it's not about kissing and passing out checks and kissing cheerleaders. Okay? Are you kidding me? Every coach I've ever had, from college to pro, tells you to do this. It's called gamesmanship, jackass. Nobody's telling you to hit them. Okay, dude, whatever, dude. I don't care. See, Prince doesn't like it because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he thinks that everything is played with Queensberry rules, that when you get into a football game, that there's not holding. I'll give you another fact here, too. So most guys cheat. Seals, go back and listen to Sirianni's answer last night. It was great. he isn't going to say about it. He said, y'all check the injury report Friday. Perfect. I actually love that. Let me show you on how you do holding illegally. Line judge will stand here, right? Most good offensive linemen will show the hand. And he'll turn and look. And what they'll do is they'll grab you here inside. Defensive lineman will go and complain to the line judge and say, he's grabbing me, man. He's grabbing me. Line judge will get a better position to take a look at it. They'll show the hand. Sees him over here, they'll grab you here. Same thing when you're running down the sidelines with a referee. You ever notice some refs are more out of bounds to get a better look and seeing if you're getting an arm bar in there? And what he'll do is he'll come around and try to come around on this side. You get the arm bar on the other side. Oh, but Sills, that's illegal. No shit. No shit. No shit. How about Mariota? How about Mariota warming up? About Mariota warming up. Hey, I'd be concerned that Jalen Hurts may miss a couple games coming up soon. Dual threat. Comes with it. Got to deal with it. Jalen's in a knee brace. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. I told you he wouldn't play 17 ball games this year. He's not gonna. What you got to do is you got to coach around this now. And that's what they did last night. And I think a very good job of it last night. Let me get to Desai now. Man, this guy's getting better and better every week. He is getting better and better and better every week. Jalen Phillips at the end, I would put up 7+. Sean Desai, wow. The job that he's done with the broken pieces in the secondary and all the people that were out, and with the job they did on the Dolphins, how they set the edge so much better this year than they did a year ago. Guys can't. How many teams have you ever seen get out wide in the perimeter on the Eagles? I mean, they're like an SEC team. Like, nobody runs wide on Philly. Nobody gets on outside. Everybody in the NFL has great team speed. Nobody breaks contain on the Eagles. They set the edges as good as anybody I've seen in a long time. That, to me, my friends, is keeping everybody in the box, is what we call it. I mean it. You keep everyone in the middle of the field. And Desai has Josh Sweat is so good at that. Watch him. He keeps his outside shoulder and his outside arm free. Okay? And it is remarkable. I mean, it really is. And they're doing such a good job. By the way, how about this? Dude, that kid Morrow and Zach Cunningham having pretty good years. Do you know what the money that they have now made for themselves? Those guys have extended their careers. Both guys. One guy was like at an ice cream stand a month and a half ago, and the other guy was given no money by Philly. He was fired even by the Eagles. The Bears sent him on his way. Like I said, get this. Even the Eagles cut him. So get what Murrow's journey's been. Even the Eagles didn't think much of him. Even the Eagles didn't think much of him because they fired him. They cut him. He worked his way up from the practice squad, got activated, and I tell you, man, them two guys, you may not want them back. Maybe you don't get them back. Somebody's going to want those guys. Somebody's going to want those guys. GT goes, Hurts is elite. GT, you think 10 turnovers in 7 games is elite? You think that's elite? You think 10 turnovers in 7 games, actually 11 and 8 games, is elite? Beating the Dolphins is elite. It is. It's a fabulous win. Okay? Fabulous win. Matt goes 23-2. Matt, that's not a quarterback record. That's a team record. Once again. Tell me what my definition is of elite. Being consistently good each and every single week and winning Super Bowls and winning championships and leading your team to titles on a consistent basis, not 1 year. That's elite. Doc asks, is Allen elite? He's got elite talent, but he has to have elite results to also go with that. Jalen Hurts is not more talented than Josh Allen. Stop saying that. He's not. But that football team has to figure out you need results. When you're an elite player like that, you've got to have elite results. Same with the kid in Los Angeles, Herbert. Nobody would ever in a million years, ever confuse Jalen Hurts, the passer, with Josh Allen, the passer. No one would ever confuse that unless you were blind and you want to hear something else. It's okay. Now, again, the problem that a lot of people get when I make that comment is that you are not happy because you know why? See, when I make that comment to you, and just listen to yourselves, you insult Jalen Hurts when you do that. Like Tone said last week, you insult Jalen Hurts. No one would ever confuse Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen as a passer. But no one would ever confuse Josh Allen for being a better dual threat quarterback than Jalen Hurts. But you don't like how it looks. And that's what I tried telling you. I don't either. You insult Hurts because he's a one-of. You're not happy with him just being him. You want him to be better than this and that. He's not. I missed that super chat if I could. Well, I'll tell you what. Now that they're asking him to throw the ball more, I liked seeing the corners press last night. I did too, Dirty D. Hey, well, get this. Now that they've asked Jalen Hurts to throw the ball more, he has more turnovers. Right? You can't have it both ways. He's got 10 turnovers in 7 ball games. You think that's a lot? The more you ask him to throw the ball, the more chances you're going to get. Well, that tip, how many weeks are you guys now going to say, well, that tip's not his fault. That tip's not his fault. Yes, it is. Because that's what the offensive coordinator and the offensive mind thinking and the brain thrust at the Eagles want. They want to put him in more of a situation because they want to get their $50 million worth of quarterbacking. And running him and having him in a knee brace is not something that they're kind of. That's why he's been ducking in his running. They want him to develop into a passer. Well, When you have a guy throw the ball and is on pace to throw the ball for over 600 times in attempts compared to 435 a year ago, you're going to have more turnovers. That's why the turnovers are high. Last year, he didn't have that. He ended the season with 435 attempts, I think it was. Okay? Most of the other elite quarterbacks are throwing the ball 800 times, 750 times. There's a higher chance of more turnovers that way. Tip passes, deflections, overthrows, one bad pass. But see, again, you think Jalen was going to have 6 picks this year? I never thought that. I thought that number would go through the roof if they were going to ask him to pass more, and they have. It's okay. You know, he's kind of changing his game in front of us here a little bit. That's taking a little time. Hey, Sills, don't know if anyone has asked you, what do you honestly think of Jalen? What would you say he is? Do you like him? Believe in him? I believe in him. Do I like him? Absolutely. I just don't believe he has a high ceiling. So you have to win now. If you're going to go here, and Furman, my honest take on him, if you're going to go with that style, you better get everything you can out of him right now as you possibly can, because that's not going to be around long. It's just not. He's never been healthy. Okay, and now we're talking about a quarterback wearing a brace that he's never worn before. Has Jalen Hurts ever played with a knee brace? Has he ever played with a knee brace before since he's been an Eagle? Or is that something new? Just curious. Is that something new? Or did he play with that brace? Oh no, it was a rib. It was a rib. It was a rib jacket last year, right? That's not uncommon. A lot of quarterbacks play with rib jackets. So that was to protect him because of the Bear game, right? That was his rib. It's not a big deal. Quarterbacks get their ribs hit all the time. But has he ever played with a brace? I think that's something new. Last year, he hurt his shoulder. Oh, was his shoulder? I thought he wore the rib. I thought he wore the rib jacket, Tone. I thought it was the rib jacket he wore but it was his shoulder, because I remember Peter King saying that he couldn't lift his shoulder. So it was the shoulder. I think you're right. I think he wore a shoulder harness. He wears the rib jacket. I think it was the shoulder harness. Yeah, it was the shoulder harness. Okay. Yeah. So he's got a knee brace on for the first time in Philly. Had one in Bama. I asked the question, has he ever had a knee brace on in Philly? So we'll see how that plays out. I don't think he has, as far as a brace. I think there was a shoulder harness. Okay. Just to close up on Sean Desai here. Sean Desai, man, he was the second best coordinator you've had since they implemented the Nick Sirianni coaching staff. Steichen is a good coach. Steichen's a good coach. He is. He's got that Colts team. Tell you what, Shane Steichen looks like he's really a good coach. Hey, just to show some of you guys how idiotic you guys are when you keep throwing those coaching numbers at me. How about this one? I'm going to take a time out here in a second, Tone. But how about this one? Somebody pointed this out to me today, and Packer executive, who I won't name, said this to me. Get this. Do you know who's 49-23 with a 681 win percentage? And he's on the hot seat. Coach has a 681 winning percentage and has basically won double digits every year. And he's on the hot seat. Do you know who that is? It's Matt LaFleur. They're not happy with the progress of Jordan Love and the organization and the situational play calling. Tell one last time here for that, please, that super chat. Matt LaFleur, last year, Hurts averaged 31 passing attempts per game. This year, he's averaging 35, which is less than I thought it would be. I think that number is going to continue to rise because let's see what the by the numbers, what he did. Well, he had 31 attempts. They brought it down 14 attempts. And the rushing attempts were at 34. They had some balance there, but they really didn't run the ball well. I mean, for the Eagles to get 34 attempts at 99 yards, that's not Eagle football. And the majority of those yards, weren't they Jalen? Right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, 62 yards came out of Swift. So, I mean, Jalen had quite a few carries in there. I think Hurts had 11 carries. Was it 11? Fun fact, Sills, Jurgens has been out. The Eagles are averaging one less yard per attempt. Okay? Interesting. All right. We're going to get our friend Tone on segment. That'll be at 3:30 Eastern. We'll talk more about the coaching that went on in this football game and moving forward off of that game. How important was that game for Jalen versus Tua? I want to hit a little bit on that. Don't forget, folks, our great friends at Hooters. And, hey, we have to announce our winners. Each and every single day, we get an opportunity, okay? When it comes Tuesday through Friday to announce our winners, tomorrow we'll start it up again. Here are our winners. Christopher, congratulations, and Ken from Massachusetts. You guys are the winners of our gift certificates with our friends at Hooters. 7 locations in the Northeast area from Rhode Island through Jersey all the way down to King of Prussia. We can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll start the whole thing up again where we're giving our gift certificates away. And I love to see these guys. Such a great hit. Go to northeasthooters.com. That's northeasthooters.com to find the location nearest you. If you don't want to go into any one of the locations, use the app, hooterstogo.com. That's hooterstogo.com. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.